good afternoon, and welcome. Welcome indeed, yes, to a Monday edition of the Mark Moses Show, as we are broadcasting live always from the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Take back control of your life. Call them today, 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Yeah, we were not here last week. I was on holiday, vacation, as you would say, touring around Europe, having a great time. And if you miss any of those posts, photos, videos, any of that cool stuff, check it out on all my social medias, Mark Moses Show. We had so much fun. I went to London, Brussels, Luxembourg City, back to London, then to Atlanta, then to Orlando, then back to Melbourne. It was a crazy 7 days. I had a blast. I had so much fun. And I usually do that, about 1 or 2 weeks before we hit the football season. Because now it is time to buckle up. I said this at a meeting this morning where high school football starts this Thursday, Friday night here on the coast and throughout the whole state of Florida. Then Labor Day weekend, that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I don't know, it's awesome. It's going to be college football. Then the big boys, as I like to call it, the NFL, will start that Thursday night before that first Sunday. I can't wait. So it's like September 4th. We're going to have Eagles-Cowboys for the NFL opener. Yay! Can't wait. So it's going to be football, football, football. I'll just say this about Europe. And I was talking about this with my sister yesterday. Okay, where are team sports big? United Kingdom, Premier League is gigantic. Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United, Man City. You can just keep going on it. Tottenham Hotspurs, Liverpool, all these different teams. It is gigantic, big business where pro sports are huge. The other teams, in Paris, PSG, Italy, Juventus, Germany's got a bunch of big teams. In Spain, you got, AC Milan, FC Barcelona. That is big in Europe. But it's funny, when I was in Brussels, which, by the way, it appears they think they're in France because the whole time I'm there, they're just speaking French. I didn't get the sense that pro sports was big there in that country. And then when I was in Luxembourg City, nothing of professional sports. Maybe there's some club teams. Maybe I just was going down the wrong neighborhood, but I didn't see anything for pro sports. And I say that from the standpoint of you come back to America, United States, sports are gigantic here. Sports are so big. We're the only country in the world where college athletics is a big thing, big time money, where people want to watch it. They will spend money, their hard-earned money, on cable television to watch college athletics. You're not getting that in Spain or the United Kingdom or Germany. No. In America, it is gigantic. That's what I kept thinking about when I was over there. Like, you know what? It is not big in some of these countries. In this country, it's gigantic. It's so big. How big is it, Mark? We're running around with the hats on and the shirts and the jerseys. Yeah, it's big. And it feels like there are 2 seasons in this country. Like, Mark, what do you mean? Winter, spring, summer, fall. We have 4 of them. No. In this country now, 2025, we have 2 seasons. We have football season, which goes from August to February, and then we have the off season, the second half of February to when is football coming back. That's what's happened in this country. It is. It's gigantic. And it was funny. So I'm like running around. And when I was waiting my flight from Luxembourg back to London, I had about an hour to kill. So I sat there in the airport watching YouTube, and all I did for an hour was watch NFL highlights of preseason games I missed. Some of those induction ceremony events there at the Hall of Fame from Ken a couple weeks ago. I loved it. After about an hour, I was like, I love being American. Yes, I love football, and I'm excited football's right around the corner. That's right. Can't wait, in the words of Bart Scott. Good times. And you know it's a good moment if you're football and not these other sports? So last night, I'm turning on the TV. ESPN did this really cool thing where they had a baseball game where two professional baseball teams were competing there in Williamsport. Can I say it right? Williamsport, where it's home of the Little League World Series, which is going on right now. And they had two baseball teams competing. That's right. One of them was the Mets, the other one, I don't care. I'll follow the Mets, the other one, whatever. That's not the point. They're like, we're going to do something cool. We're going to play a baseball game where the Little League World Series is played. And it was cool where all the Little League players were there in the front rows. That was cool. Hey, this is something unique. The problem is you had a preseason NFL game on Fox going on at the same time. There is a regular season baseball game, which is a once in a lifetime. We're here in Williamsport. This is pretty cool. All the little leaguers are here. This is great for the game of baseball, but it went against an NFL preseason game. A game that counted in baseball got crushed in the TV ratings last night by a preseason game. Sorry. I know Juan Soto played last night. He makes $700 million. But there was a preseason game where it was the Bears and Bills. And the Bills didn't even play their starters. And it crushed baseball in the TV ratings. Remember, say this every year. When they rank the top 100 TV events, most watched TV events of the year, usually over the last couple of years, 90 out of the 100 are NFL games and football games overall. Football. Baseball can do whatever they want. They won't be football. They get crushed by a preseason game. And when the Bears came out last night at home, and Caleb Williams, who after the last couple of months got destroyed by the national media, saying he's terrible, he's a bust, he can't do anything. When he got the ball first and down the field, and he scored that touchdown, yeah, a lot of people saw that. A lot of people saw that last night. And people are ready. We'll have preseason games coming up this weekend. Then we're ready to go. Can't wait. It has been a very, very boring offseason for non-football stuff. I can't wait for football to be back. And the thing I think about last night, and I saw this in the Jaguars game as well, because the Jaguars earlier in the day were in New Orleans, and they were taking on the Saints. It feels like football, especially at the NFL level, it's all offense. All of it is offense. Everything. You better have a quarterback. You better have an offensive line. You better have wide receivers. You better have running backs. Everything is, you better score 30 points a game. And you're like, well, who won the title last year? Philadelphia. Yeah, Philly's got a good defense. They are loaded on offense. Loaded. Great wide receivers, an MVP level running back. Jalen Hurts was Super Bowl MVP. They're loaded on offense. And you see this with Jacksonville. Okay. They got a brand new offensive line for Trevor Lawrence. They gave him Brian Thomas Jr., stud rookie wide receiver last year, coming back for year 2. You're going to add the Heisman Trophy winner on offense and defense in Travis Hunter. It's all about the offense. You're like, Mark, well, come on, there's great defenses. All right, answer this. Who's the best linebacker in football at the NFL level? Who is it? 20 years ago, you'd say Ray Lewis, Brian Urlacher. Just the history of football, being a linebacker, especially middle linebacker, meant something. And it was a big deal. And you're up for MVP honors. And you get that big contract. Who's the best linebacker in football? Can you answer it? No, you can't. It's not, because it's all about offense. You better score points. You better get it done. Every team, if you want to win the NFL level, defense wins championships. No. You better score points. You better have an offense. And your coach better be offensive-minded. That's how it looks, right? Everything is about offense. All of it. And I loved in the Jaguars game. This is what I love the new coaching staff with Liam Cohen. Okay. Jaguars come out. They go right down the field. Lawrence looks great. Offense looks great. Now, I know the Saints might be the worst team in the NFL. They go down the field. They're in the red zone. Trevor Lawrence snaps the ball, trips on his lineman, fumbles the snap in his exchange to the running back, turnover, Saints ball. He goes back to the sideline, and you could just tell with this new coaching staff, with Liam Cohen, hey, next time you get the ball, you better score. I'm going to kill you right now. That was kind of the feel. The fear of God was put into Trevor Lawrence. Hey, St. Doug Peterson, St. Urban Meyer, we're here to win. We're going to clean this up, and we're going to win. And you better get the ball, and you better score right now. And you know what happened? You serious? Trevor Lawrence got the ball back, went right down the field and scored a touchdown. And that's why I'm very excited for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Do I going to go, 13-4? No, I don't. But I think they're going to compete with Houston for that division. They won 4 games last year. They're going to do better. Bet the over for the Jaguars. I'm telling you, that Liam Cohen, he probably told Trevor Lawrence when he fumbled that football. And remember, he was a turnover machine last year for a very terrible football team. This is a big year for Trevor Lawrence, year 5. He got paid. It's put up or shut up time for Trevor Lawrence. You better go score. And he did. That was fantastic. That got me excited. It did. John Frary is going to join us here in a second with Sports Now. Covers the Jaguars, and we'll get to some Gators. You will hear that conversation with him here in a minute. We are broadcasting live from the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Take back control of your life. Call them today, 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. And since football's right around the corner, if you'd like to advertise here on the Mark Moses Show, hit me up on my website, markmosesshow.com. Hit me a message on social media. I don't see me walking down the street. Hey, Mark, I'd like to be a partner of the show this fall for football season. Hit me up. I want to hear from you. And I know also we're going to be partnering with Eastern Florida State College and Florida Tech this fall for 2 different segments talking Panthers and Titans sports. That's going to be very exciting. All right, here's what we're going to do. Let John Frary, Sports Now, get his thoughts. Jaguars getting ready for the season, and we'll get to the Gators. Hey, Gators are 2 weeks away. Let's hear from John Frary right now here on the Mark Moses Show. Right now here on the Mark Moses Show to break down the latest on the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Florida Gators. This guy does a great job covering them both up there in Jacksonville with his sports show, Sports Now. His name's John Frary. John, how you doing today?
Doing great. We're getting closer to football that actually counts, Mark, but we did have 2 preseason games for the Jags, and the Florida Gators are only 13 days away from kicking it off. So a great time of year.
I saw the Jaguars-Saints game over the weekend, and I want to break this down with you. There was a drive. The Jaguars look good. Trevor Lawrence is at quarterback. They go right down the field. They're in the red zone. And then Trevor Lawrence fumbles the ball, and it's a turnover. And there was this feeling on the sideline like, oh, this is not good. Like, are we going to get more bad Jags football? And then they got the ball back and went down the field and scored a touchdown. What were your thoughts when you saw that last weekend for the Jaguars-Saints game?
The turnover, I thought, here we go again, because Trevor Lawrence has had the most turnovers since he's come into the league. And that's something that's got to stop. That play that you were talking about, he should have just fell down. He actually had stepped on one of the offensive linemen's foot and stumbled. He still tried to make the handoff. In that situation, you just can't make that play where you turn the ball over. What I did like was the bounce back, as you mentioned, Mark, where they got the ball on the next drive and went right down the field. And the first team looked efficient yesterday. They moved at relative ease against New Orleans. Granted, New Orleans didn't play a lot of their starters, and they're not one of the better teams in the league. But still, I thought it was a good sign for the Jags, the way the first team operated, not only offensively, but defensively. because the first game against the Steelers in the preseason, the defense couldn't stop anybody. So it looked a lot better, a lot cleaner, and a lot more efficient yesterday. Now, the backups were another story in the second half, but most of those players you're not going to see in the regular season anyway. And I like Liam Cohen in the offense that he's putting into effect. Trevor's getting rid of the ball quick. It's taken a lot of the decision-making out of play, and the screenplay is going to be a big part of this offense. And I like the rotation of running backs the Jags have. They have 4 running backs that give you a little something different, including the 2 rookies that they drafted back in April. So overall, I think the offense is moving in the right direction. I still have some questions on the defense and the offensive line when we get to the regular season.
It felt like when Trevor Lawrence went to that sideline, the Liam Cohen effect came into play. Like, you're going to get your butt back out there, and you're going to go score a touchdown. Like, it didn't feel like there was a fear of God where Trevor Lawrence, it's put up or shut up time for him in this uniform.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. This is his 3rd head coach and 3rd general manager as well. So there's no doubt for Trevor. It's got to happen this year. We've got to see him take another step here in Duval County and Jacksonville. And I like the way Liam Cohen has called guys out during training camp, too, offensive linemen and other guys, unlike the prior regime like Doug Peterson, nothing against him, but he would act like nothing is wrong. And Liam Cohen's not shy to call somebody out. That's something I have noticed since he's gotten here this past year. So I like the way they responded. And like you said, Mark, I'm sure Liam Cohen was in Trevor's ear, and he was in the ears of a lot of the players last week because there wasn't as many penalties committed yesterday either as there was the prior week. So, again, it was a cleaner and a more efficient performance yesterday. We'll see where it goes next week, though I don't expect the starters to play in Miami on Saturday. I don't think we're going to see the starters again until September 7th.
Where does Travis Etienne fit in this offense as you talk about now you got 4 running backs back there?
Well, I think he is going to fit in as far as the passing game. I think he's going to get a chance to catch a lot of balls. I think he's going to be the first running back up. Now, there's a caveat to that with Etienne. I think he could get traded during the season if the Jags get offered something that's worth trading him, because he's on his option year now, meaning he's a free agent after this year. And I think with the other 3 running backs, the more the rookies show, Bashal Tootin, Quint Allen Jr., I think makes Etienne more expendable. But for right now, I think he is going to play a role in this offense. I think he will be on this team opening day, but I would not be shocked if he's traded before the trading deadline during the middle of the season.
You've been out to training camp. You've seen the preseason games. And I know you were telling me this before we came on where Travis Hunter didn't play over the weekend in New Orleans. Where does Hunter now fit into this offense then here for this fall?
I think he's going to start at wide receiver. It was more precautionary yesterday. He would have played if it was the regular season. But he had an upper body injury last week. It was kind of an undisclosed thing. That's all they told us. But it looked like he was still running around and everything was fine. So I think they sided on caution. But he's going to be a starter on offense, I believe. And I think he's also going to play situational defense, too. He played both in the Steelers game the first week, and he's practiced on both sides of the ball in training camp and the mock game that the Jags had a few weeks ago. So, but I think he still plays a bigger role on offense than he does on defense. And the reason I say that, I think Liam Cohen and the Jaguar management is going to give every option for Trevor Lawrence to succeed this season, Mark, because it's year 5. And like we said a few moments ago, it's time for Trevor to put up this season. So I think they're going to give him a lot of Travis Hunter as well as Brian Thomas Jr. and De'Ami Brown, who also didn't play yesterday. They held De'Ami Brown out, too. So 2 of their 3 starting wide receivers did not play in that New Orleans game yesterday.
See, here's what's interesting. If you're an opposing team and you're doing the scouting report on the Jaguars, isn't Brian Thomas Jr. your number one concern, the best option then on offense for this football team?
I would say yes. And I would say that's what's going to put dilemmas in opposing defensive coordinators' minds and maybe keep them up at night, which I've never said about the Jags, or at least not in a long time. But because if you focus on Thomas, then Hunter might be left out there one-on-one. And that's a pretty dangerous proposition. And I think De'Ami Brown's going to be a major factor in the slot as well, because he's looked good in training camp. He looked good in the mock game. So I think opposing defensive coordinators are going to have to pick their poison if all 3 of those receivers are out there at the same time and they're healthy. And that's why I think Travis Hunter will clearly play a lot of offense for that reason.
I know it's only one preseason game, but the eye test, and I want your thoughts, John Frary with Sports Now, I think they're going to be better this year. I'm not saying, 13-4, but I think they're going to be a more competitive actual football team because of Liam Cohen. I'm kind of buying them in the division. How about you?
I think they're going to be better. I don't know if I'd buy them in the division if you mean win the division. I'd still have to see more, but I think they're clearly going to be better. And I think Liam Cohen's a big reason why, because the offense is going to be structured more to Trevor Lawrence's strength.
Yes. And
I like that they went out and brought in 5 new offensive linemen. The offensive line has looked better to me so far, Mark, and that was atrocious last year. And so that's a big reason why Trevor didn't succeed too. It's not all on Trevor, but he's still got to step up his game. But I think they are going to be better. I think they're going to be competitive this year. They're going to win more than 4 games in my mind, which is all they won a year ago. But right now, I would say 7 or 8 wins is where I have them at, and maybe falling just short of winning the division. I still would have to see more before I could go there, but I think they will clearly be better this season.
I think the Colts are a disaster where they don't know who their quarterback is. Tennessee, we have no idea with Cam Ward. He's a rookie. It'll take time. And Houston's the team to beat. But, all right, I'm with you. I'm taking Jacksonville at number 2 right now. Are we agreeing on this?
You went where I was going to go. I think Houston's the team to beat. Jacksonville's ahead of the other 2, the Titans and Indianapolis.
I'm going with that. All right, we're doing the handshake. We agree on this. It's going to be fun. When is your opener for the Jaguars, and will you be there?
I will be there. I intend to be there, Lord willing, for all the home games this year. But the opener is September 7th, unless there's a divine force. But I plan to be there. Carolina is the opponent. It'll be 1 o'clock on Sunday, September 7th. And that'll be a good litmus test for Jacksonville, because that's a team kind of like them that struggled last year. Carolina was 5-12. Jacksonville was 4-13. So I think that's going to be a good barometer, to be honest with you, Mark. I like the matchup where the Jags exactly are. So that should be fun that day.
It'll be 150 degrees, as it usually is, right?
It will definitely be that. We've got one more year of that after this one, and then that will change. But, yes, for the next 2 seasons, we still have that, no question.
I want to get your thoughts on this. You bring up Liam Cohen and, the structure of the offense, and it just feels like in the NFL, you have to have an offense. You have to have the quarterback in play. You got to give him weapons. I'm a defensive guy. I grew up rooting for the Bears, as you know, and it's always starts defense. I feel like the NFL it's all offense now, all of it. Do you get that sense as well, looking at these teams in the league?
I do. I sense that everybody's building their team to be able to score between 30 and 40 points a game. and throw over 300 yards a game because the rules are structured for that. The NFL has made it where they want as much scoring as possible, and that the rules are structured towards the offense. So there's no doubt that that is where I think everybody's going. And you mentioned the Chicago Bears. I think they're doing that with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, their coach and quarterback as well. So
I like what you said with Trevor Lawrence. Get that ball out early, buddy. Don't think about it. So what does he need, 2 seconds now? Is that what he's going to get to throw the football?
Well, in training camp and in the 2 preseason games, I've noticed he's had a quick release. He's made some good, quick decisions, and a lot of it's the short screen passing game, but that's okay as long as you're making positive yards. Like someone told me this weekend, I don't care if they go 13 plays and 75 yards as long as they score. They don't have to make it in one 50-yard pass. So I think you're going to see a lot of that in this offense, but I do think they are going to pick their moments because with both Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter, you're going to get some one-on-one matchups from the other defense where you're going to be able to hit a long pass over the top with these guys. So I think it's going to be a fun offense to watch, which it has not been the last few years. It's been really a grind to go down there and watch some of these offensive games, but I think this is going to be a lot more fun regardless of the record.
What's going to be exciting about that opener you talk about against Carolina, so many eyeballs are going to be watching Travis Hunter in that stadium. Don't you feel like every single person, and when he gets that football in his hands, no one's going to be in the bathroom, right? Or getting a hot dog. Everyone's going to be seeing 12, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, it's already had an effect, and we haven't even started the regular season yet. I can tell you there were more people out at training camp. There were a lot of 12 jerseys already sold that fans were wearing, and even the 2 preseason games. Obviously, yesterday he didn't play, but still, there's just been so much focus on him in training camp, mock scrimmages, and the one game he did play. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on number 12, no question.
All right, I'm going to give you my hard take, or it's a hot take, whatever you want to call it, with John Frary. I think New Orleans is going to be the worst team in football, and they're going to get the number 1 pick, and they're going to take Manning. So the grandson is going to be the quarterback. So Archie and then his grandson, that's my story. What's today? 18th of August? I'm calling my shot, John. What are your thoughts?
Well, it sounds good. Now, I'll be contrary in one effect.
What?
Arch Manning's grandfather came out last week and said Arch would be playing college football in 2026. Now,
no.
He says that, but if Texas wins a national title, if New Orleans has the first overall pick, as you just laid out, obviously people say stuff at points in time and then they can change their mind. So, and I know at SEC Media Days, the Texas folks that I talked to were convinced Arch Manning's going to play 2 years. I thought it would just be a one and done. They're convinced he'll come back for 2026, but that would be awfully tempting if he was the number 1 overall pick and could go to New Orleans where his grandfather played. So that is a bold prediction, my man. We'll see how it plays out. It could happen that way.
Look, let's see him beat Ohio State week 1 before we anoint him as the greatest thing ever. Okay? Can we see him beat the Buckeyes first before anything?
Absolutely. I mean, he's got a lot of pressure on him. I don't actually envy him because of his family name going in. Texas is a preseason number 1. I dare say Arch Manning is probably the preseason favorite to win the Heisman at this point, even though he's never been the starter. So, and they play Ohio State and Columbus, as you just pointed out, to begin the season. And I think the Florida Gators, believe it or not, might have a shot at them on October 4th when they come to Gainesville. But we'll see. That depends on DJ Lagway's health.
What is the latest on DJ Lagway?
The latest is he's still not practicing with the first team. He's out there throwing the ball around, but he's not in the actual scrimmages, which is concerning. And there's a possibility he may not play the Long Island game, which this might be a year where Florida's pretty thankful they're playing a team like Long Island to begin the season, because that will give DJ Lagway another week to get fully recovered. So there's still some concern there. I still think he'll play this year, but whether it's the first game or not, I don't know. That's a 50-50 in my mind right now. And Billy Napier really hasn't elaborated much more in the conversations he's had with us.
Are you driving to Gainesville to see Long Island? Are you doing this Labor Day weekend?
I absolutely will be there. I can't wait. Call me crazy, but it's the beginning of the season. That's always like a national holiday to me. So I will definitely be down there on that Saturday night at 7 o'clock.
Put it on a Thursday night, okay? Just come on. Do that. That is ridiculous. Man, One thing that is refreshing, Florida will be essentially guaranteed an opening day victory, which they haven't had in a couple of years. So that's one thing you won't have to worry about this go around. Did you see, John, the Netflix thing with the SEC where it recapped the Gators from last year? I have not seen it yet.
I have not seen it. They actually debuted that at Media Days, but I didn't get a chance to go see it then either. It was at night, and they were offering that, but I have not seen that yet. I hear it's very good from a few folks I know that did see it, but I have not seen it.
Well, it's funny. You lived it. I don't know if you need to watch it. You saw every game. You saw everything that happened last year. It's like fascinating. All right. Tell us about your show, when it's coming up this week, and what's going on, buddy.
Well, it'll be on from 4 to 6. It's on 1021news.com or 102.1 and 1240 WFOI in St. Augustine. And a lot of what we talked about, Jacksonville Jaguars, Florida Gator talk. We'll throw in some Florida State Seminoles and Miami Hurricanes too, but it's going to be football, and more football. I love it this time of year, and a little high school football in St. Augustine as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Look, I took last week off, and now I'm like, all right, now it's buckle up time till we get to about Christmas and then to the Super Bowl. I love it. Hey, it's the best time of year. John Frary, Sports Now. Thanks for your help, and have a great day, buddy.
It's always an honor and a pleasure, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Always love talking to Mr. John Frary, Sports Now. He will join us all season long to talk some football, my friend. You brought up high school there for a second. I'm going to bring this up. I know we had the kickoff classics last Friday night, but this Thursday and Friday night here on the Space Coast, real big boy football starts here for high school football. Here's what we got. Coming up, this is very key here. Coming up, August 21st, MCC is going to take on Somerset Canyon, 6:30 with the kickoff. Then Friday night, the 22nd, we're going to have Atlantic, Port Orange. They're going to be side. Cocoa Beach at Melbourne, O'Galley at Vero Beach. Oh, it's a big game. Palm Bay at Astronaut, Legacy at Holy Trinity, Cocoa at Merritt Island Christian at Ocala Christian. What was this? Chapel at Real Life Christian Academy. Halifax Academy at Satellite, Heritage at Titusville, Vieira hosting Rockledge, Gateway at Space Coast. That's coming up Thursday with MCC. Then everyone's going to play Friday night. We'll break it down. I know especially Alan Slaughter-Zinski, Brevard Sports Network. He'll join us tomorrow to break down all those games and his recap of what happened last Friday night for the Kickoff Classics. Yes, it's great to be back on doing this show. We were off last week, but it's time to rock and roll like I just told John Frary. Hey, we're always broadcasting from the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Give them a call today and take back control of your life. Call me 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Hey, if you'd like to advertise here on the show coming up this fall, as we're talking high school, college, and the NFL, hit me up, markmosesshow.com. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow right here on the Mark Moses Show.